Hello everyone and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Emily and today we are going to be picking my April TBR. So I originally got this idea from Cody's Book Corner. Every single month she spins her wheel of TBR 12 times, so I made my own little wheel of TBR and I'm going to use it to pick my TBR for this month. So my reasoning for doing this is that I've never actually picked a set TBR for a month. I usually just read whatever comes to mind next. I'm such a mood reader. I've never had a set pile of books that I want to read in a month. So I figured I would try different ways of picking my TBR, and the Wheel of TBR is my first different way I'm going to pick my TBR. So I have 12 different prompts on my wheel to help me pick my TBR, so I'm going to go through them. The first one is Own Voices. So this one, I just pick a book written by an Own Voices author. The next one is Big Book. So this one is just a large book, probably 400 pages and up. The next one is Adaptation, and this is where I read a book that has been adapted into a movie or TV show. Next we have Series, and this is where I read the next book in a series that I haven't read yet. Small Book is just a book that is 200 pages or less. For Letter, I will find a random letter generator on my phone and I will pick a book that has that letter in the title or the author's name. New to me author, that's an author I've never read before. And color is just, I spin the wheel again, and then whatever color it lands on, I have to read a book with that color on the cover. So I am going to spin the wheel 12 times, and every time the wheel lands on a prompt, I will pick a book that has to do with that prompt, and then I will swap the prompt out for a different one. I have a bunch of other ones that I've written. So I have my Shirley Temple, and let's get started. So the wheel landed on Adaptation, and for that one I have chosen to read Different Seasons by Stephen King. This is a collection of 4 novellas, one of them being Shawshank Redemption. I have actually read that novella and I think one other in here, but I haven't read all 4, and I think it's high time I reread Shawshank Redemption. It's one of my favorite novellas, and it's probably my favorite thing Stephen King has ever written. So I'm excited to read this one this month. I'm also going to swap out Adaptation. So I've got some prompts here and I'm just going to pick one. And I got audiobook. So if it lands on this one, I'm just going to pick an audiobook that I own. So it hesitated, but it did end up landing on Big Book. And for this one, I have chosen one of my new purchases in March. So if you watched my March haul, you probably know what's coming up. And that is Diana Gabaldon's Outlander. This one is over 800 pages long. It's a monster, but I am so excited to read it. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I'm really excited to try it out this month. So we are going to swap out Big Book for Fantasy. So if I get that one, I am just going to pick the fantasy book that I have. So the wheel did land on Own Voices, and for this one I'm going to read American Panda. I'm really excited. I've been wanting to read this book for a while. I don't know a ton about this book. I know that it's about a young Chinese girl, and she lives in America. American Panda. But basically her parents have set out this plan for her and she doesn't really want to follow it. So she's just kind of trying to forge her own path. And I think it's going to be really, really good. And I will be swapping out Own Voices for 5-star. So that is a 5-star prediction. I actually haven't done a 5-star prediction video, but I kind of like have an idea of what I think is going to be a 5-star book, so I'll just pick from that. So the wheel landed on audiobook. So for my audiobook for the month I have chosen is Girls of Paper and Fire. This is by Natasha Nyan, I believe is how you pronounce that. Not 100% sure, don't quote me on that, but I'm really excited to read this. I've heard that it is really, really good. The cover is so beautiful. This little iPhone screen does not do it justice at all, but I am super excited to read it. I think there's a female-female romance in it, and it's kind of like a feminist story, so I'm super excited to listen to it. And I will be replacing that with Murder. So this is one of the ones that my best friend chose for me, and basically I just have to pick a book where there's a murder in it. So my wheel is definitely leaning towards one side. I don't really know how to fix that or balance it, but we're just going to go with it for now. The wheel did land on Murder, and for that one I am going to be reading Fatal Throne. I got an arc of this over the summer at the library I work at, and I still haven't read it, but it's really, really good. It's a collection of 8 different YA authors writing about all of the wives of Henry VIII, and so basically this book just follows his 8 wives. Obviously he has a bunch of them killed, and I guess we'll see how I like it. I'm really, really interested in history, and this just seems kind of interesting, so we'll see. And as a replacement, we're going to go with Animal. So this is a book that has an animal on the cover or an animal in the title. So the wheel landed on small book, and I know I said small book is like under 200 pages, but this one is only 207 pages, so I think it counts. And this is a field guide to getting lost by Rebecca Solnit. I got this one in a Life's Library subscription, and I've been wanting to read it since I got it, which was about 3 months ago, so I'm super excited to jump into this one. I know absolutely nothing about it. I will be replacing small book with library book. So it landed on letter, and I am about to use this little website to roll a letter. So it says tap and hold to roll. And 1, 2, 3. J. I have to pick a book that has a title or an author with the letter J in it. So for the letter J, I chose The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett. I don't really know anything about this except for the little blurb, which basically, it's a romance, and I didn't pick any romances yet, so I'm excited to read this one. Hopefully it'll just be kind of like a light book in between the Stephen King and the Outlander. So for the replacement prompt, I am going with male main character because my roommate pointed out to me that almost every single book I read has a female main character, so I just kind of want to mix it up a bit. decided on animal, and for this one I have chosen Geekerella by Ashley Poston. There is a little tiny dog right there, so that counts as an animal being on the cover. I'm so excited to read this book. I'm really happy about this. So the replacement prompt is out of comfort zone, so if it lands on this, basically I'm going to read a book that's not something I would typically read. Like, it's not just something I would pick up and be super excited about reading. So books that are out of my comfort zone include some poetry, most adult fiction, sci-fi is definitely out of my comfort zone, and graphic novels are really out of my comfort zone. That one was close, but it did land on New to Me author, and I have chosen to read Cold Hard Truth by Anne Greenwood Brown. I don't know anything about this book. I got an ARC of it when I was working again at the library, so I'm just going to jump right in without knowing anything about it. I think it might be a romance because of the cover, but then I also think it might be a mystery because of the title. I don't really know. I'm just gonna read it and tell you guys what I think at the end of the month. We are going to replace New to Me author with romance. So I will read a romance novel if it lands on this. So for a male main character, I have decided to read The Monstermologist. I've had this book for forever. I've wanted to read this book for forever, but it just kind of keeps getting pushed to the side because I haven't been ready to fully devote myself to another fantasy series. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna read it in the month of April. And we will replace male main character with ARC. So I'll just read an ARC that I have. So it landed on fantasy, and I'm going to be reading Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I started reading this book a year ago from the library, didn't super get into it, and I ended up having to return it, but then I picked it up at a bookstore, haven't read it since, will read it now. And for the last replacement prompt, we're gonna do one word. So if it lands on that, I have to pick a book with only one word in the title. So it landed on library book, and for library book I'm going to read an ebook that I just got, and that is Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. I just found out about this series because someone on my Instagram timeline posted about how this book is now out of print and that people should get their hands on them now, and I was like, yikes, okay. So yeah, I'm going to be reading that one as my last Wheel of TBR spin. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content from me, you can hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you check out Cody's videos as well. I will be linking her channel in the description below, and you can check out her Wheel of TBR videos. Thank you so much for watching.